Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel, Diary of a Mind Alchemist. Today, my message is going to be short. It really is. It's going to be short. I'm going to talk about how we make life more difficult than it has to be. We come across a lot of challenges in life, and these challenges cause us to go to a fork in the road. Sometimes we have to make decisions, and a lot of times when we are faced with that decision, we get stuck. And the reason why we get stuck is because we may have many options and it's overwhelming and we don't know which one to choose, or we know which ones to choose, but we don't want to choose it because it's going to be some type of sacrifice involved. But we know we have to make a choice. And a lot of times we choose not to make a choice because it's easy. It's easier to just do nothing rather than make the decision that's going to be best, even if that decision is a decision that we don't favor. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the problems that we face and complain about is mainly because we don't like the options that we have. You know, we don't like it, and we act as if this situation is can't be resolved because the decisions that we have to make aren't decisions that we want to make, but it is resolvable. Is that a word, resolvable? Oh, whatever. It can be resolved. It's just that we don't want to make that choice. But that's a part of life, and that's something that we have to be able to accept and put on our big girl, big boy underwear on and make the decisions that we need to make, even if those decisions are difficult. The problems that we face are only difficult because of the choices that we have to make, the sacrifices that we have to make. The sacrifices are what makes it difficult. A person that wants to lose weight, can do it. It's really not difficult. The difficult thing is your willpower and you not wanting to make the sacrifices. You really want to eat all the unhealthy things that you want to eat, but you know that eating those unhealthy things are not going to help you to lose weight. You know that you're going to have to exercise. You know that you're going to have to work out, and you don't want to do that. So you decide that, hey, I can't do it. It's, I just can't do it, but you can. It's just that you don't want to because you don't want to make the sacrifices. I've tried to do it, and I'm just going to accept that I can't lose weight. No, you can lose weight. It's just that you don't want to make the sacrifices that are necessary in order to do it. And that's basically why we struggle so much with the quote-unquote problems that we have in life, is because we don't want to make the sacrifices. We don't want to make those tough decisions because it is a sacrifice. We're going to have to give up something. A person that hates their job, they rather complain about it every day than look for another job. Or they might say, well, I look for other jobs, but they don't pay as well as my job. Well, if you hate your job that much, then, and you can't find any jobs that pay as well, then you're going to have to make a sacrifice. You may have to go back to school, or go to school if you've never been, in college, or, go to trade school or something. You may have to go to school to develop the skills that are necessary for you to get a higher paying job. Or if you don't want to do that, you may have to make a sacrifice to get a lower paying job that is less stressful, and that you're not going to have to worry about the the mental or physical or whatever that you are complaining about pertaining to your job that you don't like. You may have to get a lower paying job that is going to, it may not provide you financially with the amount of money that you would like to get paid, but it will provide you with peace of mind. So what's more important to you, money or peace of mind? It's a sacrifice you're going to have to make. You know what I'm saying? What's more important to you? Staying at a miserable job that you hate, or going to school and getting the skills necessary for you to get paid more money? It's a sacrifice that you're going to have to make. And these are things that a lot of people just don't want to do, but they rather complain about their life and say, and be a victim and act as if they can't do anything, like they're stuck, they can't change their situation, when the reality of it is that they can change it, but they just don't want to make the sacrifices that are necessary to change it. You may be in a toxic relationship. You could be married or not married. Doesn't matter. You're in a toxic relationship and you don't want to be in it anymore. But maybe, let's say you are married. Let's say you have a family, you and your spouse have assets together, maybe you have a business together, maybe, you have children together, you have, property, other assets that you share. And then you're thinking, okay, well, if I get a divorce, now I have to worry about alimony. Now I have to worry about child support. Now I have to worry about this business that we have together. And the division of assets and all of this stuff that I have, to worry about now. Like financially, that is just not worth it. But then you think about how miserable you are. You know, you have a decision to make. You can stay in a miserable relationship with someone that you no longer have feelings for, and continue to stay in a unhappy situation, or you can make the sacrifice, because like I said before, we are faced with so many different problems or challenges, I rather call them, in life, that we feel as though we have no other options. We feel stuck because we don't want to make the sacrifices that we are going to have to make to get unstuck, to get out of whatever challenge we are facing. You might say, well, my children, I don't want my children to have to suffer and because of, this divorce. I don't want my children to get to be hurt and harmed and feel sad and, stressed and miserable because their parents aren't together anymore. But children aren't stupid. They know. I had to go through that situation myself. It took me years before I decided that, I wanted to end, my marital relationship. My children is what caused me to take so long to make that decision. But then I had to realize that, as long as I stay in an unhealthy and unhappy relationship, my children aren't dumb. They can see that they see that I'm not happy. They can see that. You can pretend all you want. Your children see and they know. They can feel energy. They understand that something's different. And so you're not fooling them. And I know I wasn't fooling my kids. And plus I wanted to teach my kids that you don't allow, not even your own children, to cause you to sacrifice your happiness. Your happiness and your well-being is more important than anything. And I wanted to teach my children that, sometimes you're going to have to make sacrifices in life that other people are not going to like. But when you love yourself, you have to do what's best for you. And what's best for you is not always going to be something that other people like. And that's okay. They can get over it. Your kids will get over it. My kids, have gotten over it. You know what I'm saying? And life goes on. But you have to get out of the illusion that you can't change your circumstances. You can change your circumstances. Change is a choice. It is a decision. You know what I'm saying? It's a decision. So, you can decide to stay miserable, stay in a toxic, unhealthy relationship, or you can decide to free yourself and teach your children self-love by showing them this is what you do, this is what you have to do when you are in a situation that is not healthy or no longer serves you. Sometimes you have to end things with people, whether it's your friends, whether it's your person you're in a relationship with, that's the healthy thing to do. You do it for your own well-being, and ultimately it is for the well-being of your children, because staying in a toxic relationship and you're miserable is going to affect your parenting. It's going to affect, all the areas in your life, and it's not going to be healthy for your kids to, when their parents are not happy. You can't be it's hard to be a healthy parent when you are not happy. So, you have sacrifices that you have to make. Do I sacrifice my own happiness, to stay in a toxic relationship, to please other people, to please my kids, to please the person that I'm currently in a relationship with? Or do I sacrifice, the relationship, the family dynamic, my financial situation for my own happiness and well-being? What's more important? And that's pretty much what it breaks down to in any situation in life where you face that fork in the road. What's more important to me? And what's important should always be your well-being. It should always be your happiness. It should always be what serves you in a positive way. And some people might think that that's selfish. And people are entitled to their opinion. You can't allow people's opinions to affect you and affect your decision making. This is your life, and you're the only one that can live your life. So you might as well be happy while you're living it, and be in a state of peace. And sometimes you have to make certain sacrifices in your life in order to do that, in order to be in that state. So it's always a choice that we have to make. And if you want change, you're going to have to sometimes make sacrifices. So you have to ask yourself, is this important enough to me? Is what I want to change in my life important enough for me to do it? Because that's what it all boils down to. Like I said, the person that wants, the example of the person that wants to lose weight, is losing weight important enough to you to make the sacrifices? If it's not, then, keep doing what you're doing. Don't complain about it. Don't act like you can't lose weight. You just don't want to. And just admit it and go on with your life. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be in shape if you don't want to be. But don't make up excuses as if you can't when you absolutely can. It's just a decision, a choice that you have to make. Is this sacrifice worth it to me? And if it's not, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Is this toxic? Is my happiness, is my well-being important enough to me to sacrifice my finances, to sacrifice my business, to sacrifice, the family dynamic with my children? Is it worth it? Is my well-being and my happiness worth it to me? If it's not, then stay in a toxic relationship, stay in a toxic family dynamic, and, don't complain about it, because you chose to stay in a toxic situation. So that is all in your power. The victim mentality wants to think that it's not in your power. And see that when you have that type of mentality, it makes it easy to stay stagnant, because then you can just blame it on the situation. Like, it's not my fault, it just is what it is. If I didn't have this problem, then I'd be able to go ahead and do this. But this problem is, that's not it. You know, problems can be resolved. Challenges can be overcome. It's your mindset that needs to change. Is the sacrifice, it's all about sacrifices. It's the sacrifice that you have to make. Well, is what the outcome that you want, is it worth the sacrifice? That's what it all boils down to. Sometimes you can't get around making these type of decisions that are not favorable to you, where you're going to have to make a decision that you don't like. Sometimes in life, we are faced with these type of decisions, and it's like the options that we have, none of them appear to be positive as far as the sacrifices that we make, that we'll have to make in order to get the outcome that we want. The outcome is actually positive, but the way to get to that outcome might not be positive, because it's a sacrifice that we're going to have to make. It's not like, when I say positive, it's not positive. I'm not saying that you got to do something that's negative, or do something bad. It's just that it's something that you don't want to do. It's some type of sacrifice that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's basically what it is. What the choice that you're going to have to make is an uncomfortable one. Whether it's physically uncomfortable, mentally uncomfortable, emotionally uncomfortable, you might have to speak up and say something that you don't want, a conversation you don't want to have with someone, but it has to be had, and you don't want to, have this conversation. Maybe it's going to affect your friendship with someone. Maybe it's, I don't know, or your relationship, whether it's whatever kind of relationship it is. It might have a negative effect. That person might not want to deal with you anymore, but you know that it has to be done, and that's the sacrifice. Is this conversation, is the outcome that I desire from this conversation worth it? Whatever outcome it is, me just getting this off of my chest and having peace of mind, is it worth it? Whatever it is that you feel as though would be a positive outcome for you, but it may not be a positive outcome for the other person, or whatever situation you are facing, that is like that fork in the road type of thing. I either do this or do that, but I gotta do something. But you feel like you can't do it. You feel stuck. That's only because you don't want to make the sacrifice. And we make our lives more difficult than it has to be, because we don't want to make the choice. If we could just focus not on the discomfort of the choice, but on the outcome that choice is going to ultimately give us, that positive outcome that choice is going to ultimately give us. If we could focus on that instead of that temporary discomfort that's going to come from it, because that temporary discomfort is temporary, is not permanent. So if you can remember that and keep your eyes on the prize, is the sacrifice that you're going to make worth it? Because if the sacrifice has to do with your well-being, with your peace of mind, if it's going to serve you in the most positive way possible and is an ultimate benefit to you, and is an act of self-love and respect for yourself, then it should be worth it. Because nothing should be more important than your happiness, than your peace of mind, than your well-being. And if you feel as though it's not worth it, then it's probably some healing that you need to do. If you feel as though being in a toxic situation, is better than making sacrifices that is ultimately going to make you feel better and put you in a more positive energy, there's some inner work that needs to be done. Even financially, taking a pay cut. A lot of people stay, in situations where they jobs and stuff like that. They stay in these situations because they feel as though they have to. You may have to make a temporary pay cut, but that means that you are going to have to, reduce your spending. That means you're going to have to make some sacrifices as far as, your living expenses and how you're living. You may have to downgrade. Instead of a house, you might have to go down to an apartment, or maybe if you have a big house, you might have to get a smaller house, like a one-level house, a ranch or something, or instead of that expensive car you driving, maybe you're gonna have to downgrade to a lower price car, a car that is not a luxury car. It's just a basic car. You might have to do that. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to make the sacrifices. But if you could just see that sacrifice as something that is going to give you peace, it's going to give you the outcome that you want, then it should be worth it. It's really not difficult. We make things difficult. We make things challenging because we don't want to sacrifice. So, if you are having problems, challenges in your life, and you feel as though you are stuck and you cannot get out of it, that's a lie. That is a lie that your ego is telling you to keep you in a comfortable place, in that comfort zone. Remember, the ego is there to protect you. And it doesn't really care about whether the place, that comfort zone that it's trying to keep you in, is a place that is going to benefit you. It just wants you to not experience any type of pain, discomfort. It's trying to protect you from all that. But sometimes we have to go through that discomfort. Think of a baby being born. You know, the mother is going through pain, squeezing that baby out. And that baby is also going through pain. Can you imagine what it feels like? How traumatic that of an experience it is for that baby to be squeezed out of their mother's body. You know, to be in that comfortable bubble. You know, the place where they were in for 9 months, and now they're out into this cold, strange world, you know, but the baby gets used to it and they're fine. And the mother also. That's why women are having more than one baby. They forget about it. They forget about the pain that they went through in all the previous pregnancies, and they're fine and they have more children. You know, it's temporary. And you have to look at, you know, those discomforts, those sacrifices, that uncomfortable situations, decisions that you have to make in order to get where you want to be and to make the changes that you want to make as temporary. And focus on the outcome. Focus on why you're doing it. Why is this sacrifice necessary? Is it important enough to you to make this sacrifice? If it is, then you'll do the necessary things that you need to do. When it becomes a necessity, when you have to, and I've said this in other videos, and I'm going to keep saying it, until something is a necessity for you, where you have to have change, where you have to have a different outcome than a different experience than what you're experiencing now. When you feel the need, where it no longer is a desire, but it is a need, and it is just as important as the air that you breathe, then you will make the sacrifices that you need to make. You have the power to change any situation that you're in. Even if it seems like you can't, you can. Some, and I'm not trying to make light of some of the things that those who are listening may be going through. But you can take steps towards it. You don't have to do everything all at once. And a lot of times that is also something that keeps people from making change, because they feel as though they have to do it all at once. No, you can do things incrementally. Just a little bit at a time, just one step. Just one step towards change. Just one step. You know, maybe if you are like the person that wants to lose weight, you know, maybe start with a smoothie, a smoothie a day for a week. And then it's like, oh, well, I did it. I had a smoothie a day for a week. Now, the next week, I'll have a smoothie and a salad. You know, you just do things incrementally. I'll join a gym. I'll get a gym membership. And I will go once a week. You know, you go once a week, and then you can start adding more days incrementally. You don't have to do everything at one time. Sometimes if we just take that first baby step, and then we take another baby step, and then before you know it, you're walking. And then once you get used to walking and you're seeing the progress, then you can start jogging, you know? And then once you get used to jogging, then you can go out on a full sprint. But you don't have to do everything at one time. You can do things incrementally, and eventually you will make that change. You know, but you have to get to a place where it's a necessity for you. Are you tired enough of where you're at? You have the power to change it. That power that you have in you is inside of your head. It's in your skull, your brain, your mind. All you have to do is make a decision, a choice to make the sacrifices that are necessary. That choice that you've been sitting on, and you just act like, well, it ain't nothing I can do right now. I mean, it is what it is. I can't do it. No, you can. You may not be able to do everything at this very moment, but you can take a step towards change. That one little step, if you keep going, will eventually get you to where you want to be. You deciding my happiness is worth me sacrificing my business. It's worth me sacrificing the alimony and child support. My peace of mind is worth that. Or if it's a woman, you know, my peace of mind and well-being is worth me being a single mom now and making the sacrifices that I need to make in order to take care of myself and my kids on my own. It's not a situation I like to be in, but my peace and my happiness are worth it. And my children will understand one day. They may not understand now, but one day they won't understand. And, you know, and that's how you think about it. Because, these type of situations, these life-changing decisions that we have to make, they're temporary. And sometimes we have to have these difficult decisions that we have to make. But if you can understand that you are in complete control over your life, and that it doesn't have to be as difficult as you're making it. It's just a decision. And that decision will require sacrifice. So you just ask yourself, is what I want worth making the sacrifice? Not even what I want. Is this something that I need? Do I need this? Is this a necessity? Is my well-being, my peace, is it worth it? Is it worth it? My self-love, my self-respect, is it worth it? Forget about the convenience. Forget about, staying in your comfort zone. Is your well-being worth it? Or would you rather stay in your comfort zone even though it's not made really comfortable to be there? Is where you're at in the situation that you're in serving you positively or negatively? If it's serving you negatively, then you have a decision to make. And that decision isn't always going to be something that you want to make because it requires some type of sacrifice. But what is more important to you? Is staying in your comfort zone more important to you, or is your well-being more important? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. So it's not a matter of you not being able to do something. You can always do something, even if it's taking one little small action. You keep doing it, eventually you're going to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish and change whatever you want to change. But it all starts with you. It all starts with a choice that is in your complete power to do. You're not a victim. You're a victor. See yourself that way. And you will be able to make whatever difficult and challenging decisions that you need to make. Okay? So, like I said, this is a shorter message. I was intending to make it shorter than this, but it is less than an hour, so I'm proud of myself. Yay! Pat on the back, pat myself on the back. All right, so I hope that this message has helped someone out there, and I will talk to you in the next video. Peace.